Tyranny is rising in the White House, and a man has declared himself our king. So I would like to know, rather, the people would like to know, what you, congressmen, and your fellow congressmen are going to do to rein in the megalomaniac in the White House.
When you talk about tyranny, when you talk about presidential power, I remember having the same discussion with Republicans when Biden was elected. The funny thing is, you're sitting here and a lot of you would probably say those January 6s who are yelling just as loud as you, who are upset just like you, and not listening.
Hey, let's restore some order. Let's restore some order. Hey, let's restore some order.
So yelling at me is not going to get any answer, okay? I don't think executive privilege should be as strong as it is. I think we're out of balance right now. I think your direct representation, whether you like me or not, I'm the closest thing you have to a representative. Your senator's not going to be as representative as me, and the president's not going to be as representative as me when it comes to you, the people in this district. Likewise, I think state government needs to be more powerful than federal government. It used to be that federal funds only made up 1/3 of the money spent, and states was 2/3. It's more representative of your money and your money spent. That's better. Always push government down to the local level because you'll get better representation. I don't want to see the president make all the decisions. I don't. I didn't want to see. Do you not want to hear that I just said? I answered it directly. I said I don't want to see any president be too powerful.
Taxpayer, and as of this moment, I'm a voter. The reason why I say as of this moment, because I'm also a married woman who took my husband's last name. This means that my birth certificate does not match my legal name. On January 9th, 2025, you joined as a sponsor of HR 22 SAVE Act. This means that me and 69 million women like me who have taken their spouse's last name will not be eligible to vote. I want you to look me in the eye and tell me why you are trying to take away my right to vote.
You're saying this bill is going to take away 69 million people's right to vote. I disagree.
Every single news outlet, Fox, CNN, every news outlet that is reporting on this are saying that it is going to make it incredibly difficult for any woman who has a married last name to vote. It is a voter suppression law that you signed on as a sponsor of, and I want to know why you're scared for me to vote.
I think you'll see that we were just down at an IT conference and a bipartisan approach to voter ID. Now, they actually have digital ID that we can do in the future, but it's going to solve a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse. And this is a Democrat. Wait, no, this is a Democrat. I'm going to tell you what a Democrat solution is that I agree with, if you'll allow me. Is this a bipartisan issue or not? Do you want to come to a conclusion where we can agree with more? Or do you just want to yell at me and call me names? If you want to do that, I can stand back here and you can just yell at me. But if you want to solve this problem, we can actually give everything. I'll just sit back here and just let you yell at me.
McCormick, I hear what you're saying about a digital solution, but the SAVE Act that you are sponsoring requires a paper ballot. It requires a paper birth certificate. It requires you to show up in person. It takes away everything digital that you're talking about. It requires in-person voting registration with a birth certificate that matches your current legal last name. It is voter suppression. It is not a bipartisan solution.
Mr. Kent Ackermont.
Please answer.
So, I'm happy to review what it says, but I disagree with you. I don't think it says that.
Are you?
You can yell all you want, or we can have a discussion, and you can come in, we can actually go over it. Look, guys, here's the deal. I came here to have a discussion.
Talking at us.
I think a lot of you didn't come here in good faith to have a discussion. You came here to yell. The fact that I came here was because I knew there'd be about 75% of people that were unhappy and I wanted to have a discussion about how we can get to the end point and solve some problem. I didn't have to come here. My staff didn't have to come here.
It's your job.
It's your job. And I continue to come back, and I'll continue to come back.
Because it's your job.
If you want to have a discussion, we can have a discussion. But this is about solving problems, not about just yelling at each other. Because once again, we don't convince each other by yelling. We convince each other by sitting down and figuring out how we solve them.
Okay, so this will be the last question, and then it'll be your closing remarks. Mr. Dale Jordan from Cumming, are you here? Mr. Jordan from Cumming asks, with Governor Kemp's appointment to the Council of Governors, how does that help you in our representation in the state of New York? With Governor Kemp's appointment to the Council of Governors, how does that help you in our representation?
Many of his constituents lashed out at him for his support of those massive federal layoffs and budget cuts by the Trump administration and Elon Musk's Doge. The event was held about 20 miles from CDC headquarters, where the Trump administration removed 1,300 employees so far. Atlanta Journal-Constitution reporter and NBC News contributor Greg Bluestein attended the town hall and captured these events as they unfolded. In one instance, an attendee questioned why the Conservative Party was taking such a sloppy approach to the situation. Watch.
CDC workers working on the bird flu being fired by Doge and then having to be rehired when someone realized, oh gosh, we need those people. Why is a supposedly conservative party taking such a radical and extremist and sloppy approach to this?
A lot of the work they do is duplicitous with AI. Once again, one of the problems we have. I happen to be a doctor, I know a few things. So if we continue to grow the size of government and we can't afford it, it's going to have shortfalls in your Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and other things that we can't afford, guys. We have to make some decisions.
I understand. Trying to do more with less. That's reasonable. What's not reasonable is taking this chainsaw approach, which they obviously admit when they fired these people and then decided, oh, we fired the wrong people. We've got to bring them back in. Why is this being jammed down the pipe so rushed and sloppily? So.
A chainsaw approach, notable given what we saw at CPAC, where Elon Musk literally brought a chainsaw on stage. But look, you can see the crowd there clapping for that attendee's question. And here's how McCormick then responded before the crowd interrupted him.
My understanding is when you say you have this many employees that you have to cut, that organization decides who they're going to cut. Now they may make
Did you catch that last part? A resident said it was actually Elon Musk that's making the decisions when it comes to job cuts. One attendee told the lawmaker he'd done a disservice and failed to stand up for his constituents.
You can go and yell all you want, but I can't understand 10 people, let alone 100 people at once.
Budget, not the president. And you are doing us a disservice to set that down and not stand up for us. And
So we're going to have a town hall, and I'm going to come and stand in front of you and take your question and try to answer them as honestly as I can. Then let's do that, okay? But if you're going to just yell at me, that's not going to be another town.
This completely unrelated rigs. They've been indiscriminate and they take a chainsaw to these things. Workers from the nuclear workers, the NNSA, nuclear stockpile, and CDC workers working on the bird flu being fired by Doge and then having to be rehired when someone realized, oh gosh, we need those people. Why is the supposedly conservative party taking such a radical and extremist and sloppy approach to this?
So I've been down to CDC several times. Actually, Dr. Howard, one of my former attendants, works there, and I'm in close contact with the CDC. They have about, 13,000 employees? 13,000 employees at the CDC. In the last couple of years, those probationary people, which is about 10% of their employee base, which is 1,300 people, which you're referring to. A lot of the work they do is duplicitous with AI. Once again, one of the problems we have. I happen to be a doctor, I know a few things, okay? Here's what we know. If you have 13,000 employees, and I'm sure you're aware of the size of government, the second biggest leading job creators in the last 4 years has been government, next to healthcare. Healthcare first, government second. If we continue to grow the size of government and we can't afford it, it's going to have shortfalls in your Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and other things that we can't afford, guys. We have to make some decisions. And one of the things with the CDC, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, this is my opinion, you may disagree with it, but in my opinion, when you make those 10% cuts to the new hires, a lot of this duplicitous jobs. And I've talked to Dr. Howard, and I've talked to CDC directors, and I'm in close contact with them, and I know how they do the research, and I know how computers work in ferreting out those information, the treatments, the recommendations, what they should and they shouldn't be done, and I believe that they can do more with less, just like the Marine Corps and everybody else does, when you have to do more with less in order to survive.
That's not the question.
Nobody can hear him when you're yelling. Please let him continue.
Trying to do more with less. That's reasonable. What's not reasonable is taking this chainsaw approach, which they obviously admit when they fired these people and decided, oh, we fired the wrong people. We got to bring them back in. Why is this being jammed down the pipe so rushed and sloppily?
So,
yeah, that's the question.
My understanding is when you say you have this many employees that you have to cut, that organization decides who they're going to cut. Now they may they're being forced to cut, but not necessarily who to cut. Now we can debate all day whether they should be cut or not. But the fact of the matter is there's going to be downsizing government, just like we've had in the past, downsizing the military. I've been in the military where the president came in, a Democratic president came in and said the military will be slashed. And it gets dramatically and people get kicked out of the Marine Corps, and they don't want to go. And I've seen it. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just saying it is a fact of budgets based on who's in control of the government, where that money goes. Nobody can hear him and nobody can hear you, so please be respectful.
My point, though, is the conservative approach is to take this in a slow and methodical way so that you make sure you do it right.
So when it comes to spending, and this is where maybe we don't agree, but when we talk about presidential powers, and I've always been a big person that believes that the president should never do anything that affects monetary, basically taxation, or anything that has an impact, economic impact over 100 million. There's actually a REINS Act that doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican, executive orders are limited, because I think that's fair. I think it should be a balance, right? And you can say, well, I don't like when Trump does this, and I don't like when Biden does this. I personally think we have to go more slow. But I'm not the president, and this is going to be litigated, it's going to play itself out in public opinion. But this is also a reaction to growing the government rapidly, just like it's shrinking rapidly. Maybe not to the same extreme, but this is a reaction to something that's happened by expanding the government. Next question.
Steve Moeller from Roswell.
I'm a dietitian and you're a doctor, so I think you should be very aware that preventative medicine and healthy food is a lot cheaper than things like dialysis and ER visits. So based on your comments about the possible school lunch freeze and things like that, just as a mom in this community and with the talk about the education cuts and the school lunch cuts, what are you gonna do? Will you make sure hungry kids get fed and 5-year-olds aren't eating berries? Or are you going to, what are you gonna do to make our school system strong? And if we're gonna be a red state or a blue state, I don't care, but what are we gonna do to make sure our schools stay good, our kids stay healthy?
So actually I'm an educator for 4 years. I taught in private and public schools as an associate professor. I take education very seriously. My middle child received IEP, is that what it's called? For the special needs.
It's fine.
So this is my middle child who's full grown now and doing well in college, who I've encouraged to go to a technical school so he can make a living and not be replaced by AI, and to do some things that really would benefit his life based on his individual talent. I take education very seriously. I think AI can be transformative. I think we're... Come on.
Hey, let him get through the question, please. Please. If you would let him finish, maybe he will answer the question. So I'll get it.
You asked about educational
So, food.
And the food, please.
I'm sorry?
And school lunches, please.
Hey, if you don't want me to talk about educational options, I won't talk about that. Once you talk about school lunches, you'd be like.
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
We'll do that. We're going to skip the second half of your questions so we can get to the meat of the matter. Okay, if you're talking about the CNN interview, and the interviewer said, "Are you saying that 5-year-olds should?" Wait, what did I say next? Of course, I'm not talking about it. Now, that's what we disagree. I think if you're sitting at home and you have the ability to, if you have the ability to go to work and you're in high school, why not go out there and develop your work ethic and have extra money to take somebody on a date or do something? Why not? Is that really such a bad thing? So we'll have to disagree on this because I think that a teenager sitting home during high school who can go to work and have the ability and have the opportunity should. That's just me. We can disagree. That's my opinion. But I don't think, and to complete your question, no, I don't think that we should cut school lunches for needy kids. I don't. On the record.
Moving on, James Maxwell for Valparaiso. You have a question. James.
Hey, I'm gonna walk all the way through here. That's enough. Thank you guys. I just want to be able to address everybody as we can. I don't know how far this goes. Ladies and gentlemen, I just told everybody on the inside, I am so grateful on behalf of the congressman that you guys have come out here, and I am so sorry that you're stuck out in the cold.
It's inexcusable.
I understand this is frustrating. You guys took time. I'm Julie Singleton. I'm the communications director for Congressman Rich McCormick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well done. Okay.
I understand this is frustrating. I understand that you guys took time out of your busy schedule to come here and hear from the congressman and ask your questions. I get it. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about the capacity, and we have no way to control how many people show up. We didn't have access to a bigger venue this time.
Then do it again.
We will do it again.
When? And let them know.
Listen.
Communications that we send, I've sent emails for weeks, not a peep.
All right, listen.
He doesn't want to hear from us.
I assure you that's not true.
This is adding a little
I am not here to adjudicate all of your grievances. I understand you have many. What I have to do right now is tell you, unfortunately, by fire code, we cannot allow anybody else into the building. He's got 500 people inside right now, 600 people.
You gonna let him know?
It's not being live streamed. We don't have that. We don't have that capacity here. But what we are doing is we're going to push.
Doesn't have the capacity for live stream?
We don't always have that. We don't always have that capacity depending on the venue. We do the best we can, and just like all of you guys, I'm a human being doing my job. So. That's a standard decision. I know. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I am so sorry. I understand you're disappointed. I understand you're disappointed.
If you're in communications, why don't you get your phone out and watch those meetings so that we can see the day? He can be back here in a week or two. Let him come out and tell us.
social media, please go out there and live stream it.
It takes nothing to live stream. Why not have him come out?
It's not rocket science. I guarantee you somebody's live streaming right now.
And I'm sure that.
Does the congressman support Ukraine or Russia? Does he support the United States?
It's a good question.
Does he support the Ukraine? Does the congressman support Ukraine?
Ladies and gentlemen,
That's the question.
I don't want to get into answering all of your questions on behalf of him tonight.
Aren't you the communications director?
I am, yes. Okay. And I also have.
Get out your phone, record it, and stream it.
Can't right now because he's got an entire room full of people there. And again,
Stream it. Stream it now. You got a phone. You can stream it.
Absolutely. I assure you I will.
Does the congressman support Ukraine? Yes or no?
The congressman supports
for his people tonight. Can you do it?
I will walk in there and I will
at least on YouTube or social media by midnight tonight. The minute this is done, it should be able to post it. You can walk in there right now and come back on the 5 minutes or give that to us.
Is that what you want me to do?
Yes.
I can walk in there right now and see if we can do that.
Thank you.
But like guys, I don't know why.
It's cold. It's 28 in there. We're all
No,
can't go in there.
it's like this when things are going well. You understand that?
Go sit in the parking lot like a penguins and watch this shit. But we want a live stream. We want to know his answers tonight. Now. There's 200
Does the congressman support Ukraine?
The congressman supports Ukraine's sovereignty, absolutely.
Okay.
The congressman does not support throwing money at a problem without accountability. But the congressman supports our pledge to Ukraine and has always stood by Ukraine.
You have to understand, our congressman is sitting here.
So he's going to continue?
He's going to vote on deals tomorrow. And we have no say. No, we don't even know what
Is he going to tell Trump to keep sending arms to Ukraine?
Know that information.
And oppose Russia?
If you can, the people want to hear from him now.
I understand.
Are we going to keep sending arms to Ukraine and oppose
So
Russia?
then can you get us a guarantee we'll have that information tonight before he actually goes to vote? Yes, you can. It's your job. You're the communications director. You got that right. And as a communications director, you don't know how to have social media?
Save Ukraine! Now!
If he supports accountability, who is Elon Musk accountable to?
The almighty dollar.
Who's keeping my information safe from Elon Musk? Does he have access to my personal information?
I understand.
Who's protecting my personal information?
Less than anybody else working for the executive branch. That is a fact.
Clearances to work for the federal government.
The White House said he doesn't work for Trump. But then Trump said he did work for Trump.
He works for the U.S. The USDS, and it is actually a branch of government. It's a branch of government that was established under Obama, and it has been repurposed now. And so this is what we've been told. This is our understanding what we've been told from. So the congressman is continuing to look into it because it is really important that we protect your.
What about his colleagues? Can you speak to that? Are they able to sit back and watch this?
That is a great question, and I will tell you that it is frustrating. You know, when you do a group project and not everybody collaborates and not everybody does what they say they're going to do, that is a frustrating thing.
They're scared to death.
And so one of the things that the congressman does really well is works to cooperate with his colleagues and to help encourage them to like, come on guys, let's get on board.
Well, how's that going?
It's a rough process, as you know, but he's certainly committed to it.
I have a question. I'm in high school at South Forsyth High School, and he directly, Forsyth County School, that's the region he is. Can you speak on anything about his comment about teenagers sponging off the government, going to go get a job? I mean, I see students every day in my classroom who aren't privileged enough as me are struggling, and let alone you can't get a job when you're a freshman until about junior year, and then you have to have a car to drive yourself.
Yeah.
And so his comment is so disrespectful to high schoolers and the things we're trying to put forth and change about the education system. And that's our taxpayer money is going to that, and it's so inconsiderate that he would just say that. I mean, there are people we go to school with are
So,
completely
give me 1 second, sorry. Hey, Lizzie. He said that he picked berries at the age of 12. I'm outside with the crowd right now. So, potentially, ask Jordan.
Oh, how do I restart it? Just press it again.
All right, give me Okay. First of all, thank you for coming out. I appreciate you being involved in the process. I think that is so critical. So I personally, in my home, have, well, one of them's not a teenager anymore. I have 4 kids. 3 of them are teenagers, one of them's in college now. And we have 2 kids living with us who are less fortunate, who do have to be on free and reduced lunch. So it's a very personal thing to me as well. I love when our young generation, our high schoolers, are getting involved in the civic process because you guys are our future. The congressman did say a phrase that was a mistake. What he was saying, that was then taken out of context because he entered into this conversation. He tried to share his life story. He grew up with a single mom. She was a secretary. They didn't have a lot. He put himself through school. He got grants and scholarships. And he worked from the time he could all the way until now. He's never stopped working. And he believes that the value of working and having a job is important for our younger generation because he wants to help break the cycle of poverty and dependence on the government. Yeah. So to your point, no, he doesn't want, hold on, give me a second, guys. He does not want children who are unable to go hungry and to have to, go out and work for their food. What he does want is to break the cycle of poverty and dependence on government. He wants to empower people. He wants to empower our youth to be able to discover.
Everybody wants that. Everybody wants.
No, my question is, what is he doing to plan to break this cycle? What is the plan?
That's a great question, and I'll be honest, that digs into some legislative stuff that I'm not as well versed on, so I don't want to jump into a conversation that I'm not.
Well, also,
I'm going to be honest with you, though. I'm sorry.
It's not honest.
I don't know everything, guys.
You've given tax breaks to the absolute wealthiest
Well,
people in
and
the
I
world.
understand that, and so I want to be able to give you that, and I assure you, you have my word. We're going to work to put together another town hall.
You're giving away our money and cutting our services. People who have paid in Social Security, everybody here, every job we've had, we've paid in, and they're now just taking it.
I understand.
Hey friend, so in case you missed it last night, Congressman Rich McCormick had a town hall meeting last night in, I believe it was Roseville, Georgia. And in case y'all missed that, I would implore y'all to go watch it. Yeah, go watch that. So boom, when y'all go watch this, keep in mind it was not recorded live, and when you do your research, it very much so was a reason for that. But when y'all go watch it, go anywhere that's not YouTube, because whoever did the little like editing on YouTube basically cut out a lot of the raw authenticness of it. Look up on YouTube Rich McCormick town hall meeting. I promise you, there's so many people who in real time was recording everything that was being said last night. This man was hot, he was sweating. Now keep in mind, none of us was there. I think I saw maybe like 2 black people in the whole thing, but neither here nor there. Them white folks was upset. Them white folks was going in. So much so to the point that I guess wherever they was holding a little town hall meeting, they were at capacity. So it was like 3 overfilled rooms. It was over 500 people there. So much so to the point it was people in their coats standing outside asking the director of communications, whoever this little weird like white lady was. She was disingenuous, very narcissistic. She didn't care nothing about what them people was saying to her, but they was outside going in on her. Y'all please go watch that. I just found it comedic. I just feel like somebody else should see that, because it was great. I was just being nosy, but yeah.
Ooh, child. Did you all see the town hall meeting going on in Georgia and Oregon? It was a mess, and I loved every bit of it. So let me go ahead and tell you that Congressman Rich McCormick did a town hall meeting in Roswell, Georgia, where he faced a very angry crowd. So one of the constituents of the state of Georgia said, "What's not reasonable is taking this chainsaw approach. Why is this being jammed down the pipe so rushed and sloppily? The people would like to know what you, congressmen, and your fellow congressmen are going to do to rein in the megalomaniac in the White House." Y'all might have to look that word up. Okay, so that's what the constituents are saying over in Georgia. Now let's go over there to Congressman, I think it's Cliff Bentz, B-E-N-T-Z, from La Grande, Oregon, okay? One lady asked a very good question that I really didn't think about. Who is paying for Doge? And the response was, "We are looking into that now to find out. I don't have the answer." Now, President Trump has a 50% approval rating on his handling of the immigration. But for everything else, it's sliding down like the Titanic. But let's get back to this here. Who is paying for Doge? That was a doggone good question.